This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for Monday, February 24th, 2025. I'm Marek Mazurek. A pair of researchers from Purdue University recently traveled to Los Angeles to provide assistance to residents and businesses affected by two major wildfires that ravaged the city last month. Andrew Welton, a professor of civil engineering and environmental and ecological engineering, collected data on needs while also sharing observations and expertise with local groups leading the recovery effort. Welton told Inside Indiana Business that the recent fires shared key similarities to other recent western wildfires and the Maui fire in 2023.
Thankfully, because of a lot of the work that we've done with utilities around the country, we figured out how to find contamination in drinking water systems and how to fix it fairly rapidly. It's an arduous process. There were at least 8 different drinking water systems that served water to thousands of people that were impacted.
Welton was joined by PhD student Christian Grossi Ferraresi. They're focused on restoring drinking water systems after fires. Indiana has poured almost $1 billion into a contentious technology park with few tenants and a mystery budget, reporters with the Arnold Center for Investigative Journalism and the Indiana Capital Chronicle have found. The LEAP Research and Innovation District, led by the IEDC, is among the costliest economic development projects Indiana has attempted. But the agency's quasi-private structure obscures its spending and who benefits, and it's withholding the project's budget from public disclosure. Throughout a 6-month investigation, reporters tallied spending on land, water, and more, accounting for $985 million. They reviewed business contracts across multiple agencies, environmental reports, property data, and responses to public records requests, in addition to speaking with public officials. The IEDC said it has received $694 million in state-appropriated money for LEAP since 2022. Of that figure, $574 million has already been spent, $41 million is dedicated to land under contract, and $79 million remains in the coffers for additional property and infrastructure. Outcry from concerned residents, elected officials, and environmental groups has shadowed LEAP since it went public nearly 3 years ago. Now, campaigns to toughen water regulations are gaining momentum within the Indiana General Assembly, even as proposals to increase oversight of IEDC teeter. And lawmakers on opposite sides of the aisle describe different levels of access to information about the agency's activities. From the #1 source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
To succeed, you need to stay informed. You need to be engaged. And let's face it, you need to set yourself apart from the rest by connecting with a company that brings you the best. Because in today's environment, business is an ever-moving target, and we'll help you chase it. IBJ Media. The best of business is in us. Get started at ibjmedia.com/youngprofessional.
Potential rollbacks of Biden-era policies that incentivized electronic vehicle production and ownership have stirred apprehension among some local economic development officials across the state, but Kokomo Mayor Tyler Moore said he isn't among those losing sleep just yet. Much is at stake in Kokomo. A company benefiting from the previous incentives program is spending over $6 billion to build 2 EV battery factories in Kokomo, with plans to employ as many as 2,800 full-time workers. Moore acknowledged he's keeping an eye on Trump's plans, but so far, Star Plus Energy, a joint venture of carmaker Stellantis and microelectronics manufacturer Samsung, has given Moore no reason to think that the companies plan to hit the brakes on their development. The plants are designed to produce batteries for Stellantis' domestic lineup of EVs from Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler. The federal government committed in December to providing Star Plus with a $7.5 billion loan for the 2 factories. But it remains to be seen whether Trump and the Republican-controlled Congress will try to pull back on CHIPS Act commitments. After slashing a popular reading program from their budget, Governor Mike Braun said Friday he has asked First Lady Maureen Braun to spearhead an initiative to keep Dolly Parton's Imagination Library in Indiana. The program gifts free, high-quality, age-appropriate books to children from birth to age 5 on a monthly basis, regardless of family income. Former Governor Eric Holcomb included a statewide expansion of the program in 2023 when the General Assembly earmarked $6 million for the program to ensure all Hoosier kids qualify to receive free books. But when Governor Braun prepared his budget proposal in January, he discontinued the funding as part of an overall effort to rein in state spending. And Elkhart-based Surf Internet has raised $175 million in new equity funding and secured an additional $100 million in debt financing, the company announced this month. The internet service provider said the funding will allow it to further expand its fiber optic network in the Great Lakes region. The equity investment was led by Macquarie Capital in Australia, with participation from existing investors Bain Capital and Post Road Group. The new debt financing builds on previous debt commitments, bringing the company's total to $300 million. Surf Internet currently employs around 300 people across its footprint. Bloomington Mayor Carrie Thompson is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC. A weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Marek Mazurek for Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand.